Welcome to another Becoming a Modern Man. We are playing Bogles, and this time we are running up against Burn in our first match of the league. This is our opening hand. Having not had too much experience of this deck lately, I thought this was okay. It's got more lands than ideally we would like, but it's got a decent start. We got Glade Cover Scout into a couple of enchantments, so I decided to run with this. Opponent cracks a Bloodstained Mire, Sacred Founder into Goblin Guide, immediately giving away what deck they're playing. We draw a Boggle, which obviously isn't ideal given our existing hand. Second Goblin Guide comes down for our opponent. To attack, we get to see Ethereal Armor on top, which again, not the worst, but not the best. We're going to equip the Boggle up with Ethereal Armor, and we're going to run out this Glade Cover Scout in case we want to chump block, which we might well do, to try and stem the bleeding. Opponent doesn't have a second land, which is at least good for us. Opponent plays Swift Spear and attacks with everybody. And we draw a couple of lands off the top of our deck, so that's nice at least. As it doesn't look like we are drawing terribly well here from our not terribly exciting opening hand. I'm going to kill the Swift Spear here so opponent can't get that pumped too big, and I'm going to chump the other Goblin Guide just to save us a couple of points of damage here. Equip up the two enchantments. I don't know whether it would be better to actually get the fetch land and get Dryad Arbor out just to again chump block, save ourselves a small amount of damage. But this is the way we went. We've gone down to 8 here. Opponent suspends a Rift Bolt. We crack our Canopy, play Ethereal Armor to make our Boggle a 14/14. So we put our opponent down to 3 here and play out a Scout. Rift Bolt takes us down to 5. Opponent finally finds their second land. And Lava Spike plus Lightning Bolt unfortunately finishes it off. So yeah, it was close. Obviously we managed to get our opponent down to 2 life here. So next turn we were forcing them to chump block, I suppose. Or if we'd drawn an enchantment, we might have been able to kill them if we equip the Glade Cover Scout. Or certainly anything that gives trample, such as a Rancor, would have, or an evasion to the big Boggle, would have worked. So yeah, slightly too slow on this one on occasion. So it's on to sideboard. Okay, in terms of sideboarding, the main cards we want to bring in, obviously Leyline of Sanctity is pretty huge against Burn, as it turns off all our direct damage coming at us. And obviously our creature's already hexproof, so that makes their life very difficult. In terms of other cards, there's not a whole lot else we can bring in. Path might be good just to deal with their early creatures. Also Eidolon is a bit of a problem, generally, as we get shocked by it every time we play a spell, pretty much. And I suppose you could consider bringing in Nature's Claims just as another way of gaining life, but I think largely we'd be destroying our own enchantments, which isn't ideal, so I'm not sure I love that strategy. In terms of cards to come out, Suppression Field doesn't really do anything in this matchup, so definitely want to take those out. Core Spirit Dancer is a bit of a liability as well, I think, just because they're going to have so many ways to be able to kill it with all their direct damage, so I don't think it's an ideal card in this matchup. You can maybe keep in a few on the basis that presumably they're taking out their Searing Blazes and so on, but I still think it's likely to be hit with the various burn spells that are available, which makes it not an ideal card for this matchup. Keen Sense probably doesn't need to be in here as well, so I think we'll probably cut some number of those cards to allow for the ley lines to come in, and maybe an additional path as well. So there's our opening hand for game 2. It's not good. Far too many creatures, not terribly exciting enchantments either, so this looks like a mulligan. This also isn't good. I mean, it's certainly closer than the last one, but having Horizon Canopy as our only land is a bit of a liability. We don't really want to be pinging ourselves every time we tap our lands, and with no other land to mitigate that. That seems not ideal. It's certainly not the worst hand, but I think it's not the best for this particular matchup. So I'm going to mulligan it again. So this hand is also interesting, but I think we can keep this. So we're going to have Leyline, which obviously turns off their burn spells, which is nice. We've got Path for their early creature, or whatever their initial creature is. And then I think, well, I guess, I don't know, I don't quite remember how I adapted this hand. I assume I kept one of the coronets, but maybe I didn't. Yeah, so keep one land, keep the coronet, and hope that we find a creature in good time. And great Scalding Tarn, Goblin Guide, draws us a land, which is nice. I'm just going to Path the Guide, save ourselves some damage. Draw a Coronet, which isn't ideal. Swift Spear to follow up. Attackers with 2, Lightning Helixing themselves to get that extra point of damage. Crack the Canopy, but unfortunately it just finds us more enchantments and not the creatures that we need. And cracks an Islet. Again, bolting themselves. Hitting us for 2. Draw Ethereal Armor, again, not very good. But it has an Eidolon as well, which isn't great. We finally find our Gladecover Scout, which is nice, but obviously we're in a slightly trickier position given the Eidolon is now in play. But it can attack us for 3, which you're just going to have to deal with. And they're also going to Helix themselves, so attack for 4. Puts that to 9. Equip Ethereal Armor here, which makes our Scout a 3/3. Which means that our opponent's attacks are not really online anymore. And now we can hook up a Coronet to the Scout. Swing in for 7. Try and gain 7. Unfortunately, our opponent has Skull Crack to prevent us from gaining 7 here. And they're forced to chump block. We've stalled here on the replay. Okay, just a second. Okay, sorry. I thought the game had. I mean, the replay had stalled there, but no. Our opponent just concedes from this point. So yeah, obviously we now are in a position where our opponent is forced to block, and we can gain 7 life. Obviously, skull cracking themselves in an attempt to stay in the game, but they're unable to deal direct damage to us and not really able to get through this vigilant, life-linking, first striking Gladecover Scout. So, so we managed to pick up the win there in game 2. Okay, so for game 3, this is our opening hand. It's not good really. We can't even play any of our cards that are in hand with the forest that we have. And anyway, this we don't really want to have the same game as last time. So yeah, I don't think this is a good strategy. We're definitely going to mulligan this away. This also isn't ideal. I don't know if I stick with this. Yeah, I end up sticking with that. was on the basis I didn't want to mull to 5, and Leyline was pretty impressive last time, but I think potentially that was not the best of ideas, given we don't have the removal that we had last time. We fortunately draw into Glade Cover Scout, which is very useful for us. One has Eidolon, which isn't ideal. I guess my thinking with this is that if we get this Daybreak Coronet online, we are in pretty great shape. Which is certainly true. So we're going to play Griff's Boon here. It's going to crack an Islet, play another Goblin Guide. Second attack for 6 here. So yeah, they could have attacked with everyone, but they decided to keep back the Eidolon in this situation. That's probably wrong. They probably should have just attacked with everyone. So I'm not going to be trading off this Glade Cover Scout. So we go down to 7. And we draw Path to Exile. We can Daybreak Coronet here, with our opponent tapped out. So attack for 5, in the air, gain back 5 life, go to 9. Opponent doesn't have any good attacks. Play the second Daybreak Coronet. Try and push for the kill, but unfortunately we walked into their trap, and they have Deflecting Palm, which deals 8 damage to us and kills us off. So yeah, I think I obviously should have played around Deflecting Palm. Again, this is shows that I'm a bit rusty. I also wasn't sure whether this targeted, but obviously it does not, so it can actually get round Leyline of Sanctity. But yeah, I think had we thought about that a little bit more, we could have and should have played around the Deflecting Palm. Could have attacked for 5, gained another 5 life, because we weren't really pushed to finish the game there. Our opponent really wasn't able to prevent us from doing anything, so we didn't really need to play the next second Daybreak Coronet. So we were a liability to ourselves. So yeah, we really should have won this this game, and yeah, not playing around Deflecting Palm is really the only reason we didn't. We could have gained that additional life and I think pushed the game our way. So yeah, I think that was a bad play on my part, unfortunately, which cost us. But unfortunately, we do lead off with a loss.